Hi everyone, I just wanted to go through our SOAP note assignment that we had done. Sometimes going through it together can help make more sense of the assignment. This is kind of a newer way of thinking for you. I'm sure you've all done SOAP notes in the past, but to do it from the perspective of a provider can be a little bit of a challenge. It's a new way of thinking, and just like anything else, it just takes practice and you'll get it right. So hopefully if we go through it together and I can give you some pointers, it will just make that thought process a little bit more clear for you. So I'm going to show you my screen here, and I thought I'll just go through it and I'll write it out and then you'll hear my thinking as I go through. So we're going to start with scenario 1. This is the same scenario you guys did last week. So I'm not going to read it because you guys have already done this. But we'll start out with chief complaint. And her chief complaint is extreme perineal itching and burning. Okay, and all we wanted you to do was take the information that's provided in the scenario and put it into SOAP note format. So you don't need to add to it, you don't need to dramatize it or make it sound more exciting. Just exactly what we have here. So we'll start that way so it makes a little bit more sense. So then HPI, or history of present illness, will say that she has white, cheesy-like discharge. And you could put in past medical history, antibiotic therapy initiated, don't mind my typos as I go, 5 days ago due to upper respiratory infection. Okay, so that's so far our objective, or our subjective, and now we'll do objective. Oops, terrible. Objective, so we can put respiratory. Let's see, it says on assessment lungs are clear, so lungs clear. Next thing is no cough noted. No cough, because we observed that. She didn't tell us. If she told us she had no cough, we would put it in the subjective. And some nasal discharge is apparent. So that is not respiratory. That's under HEENT. So put that in there. Some nasal discharge present. Okay. And okay, so we got that. And then we're down to pelvic exam. That. And we can say, actually I can just copy and paste this. External genitalia is reddened. Just copy that. Faster than my bad typing. Okay. Vaginal exam. So we'll say well rugated, reddened vaginal walls, discharge that is thick, white and cottage cheese looking. Copy that. Put it in there. And then next is cervix. Is closed, mobile, no lesions or cysts, no cervical motion tenderness. Put that in there. And then next is ovarian and uterine. I'll just say within normal limits. And uterine within normal limits. Nice and easy. Next is wet prep is positive for yeast, negative for clue cells and trick. Okay, so then we go down to, you could say labs. I'll just say labs. You could say diagnostics. Whatever you want to say is fine. That part doesn't really matter. Wet prep, get that stuff in there. Just copy that. Put it in here. Great. Okay. Now we will go down to, got our objective and we've got subjective, we got our objective, and now we'll put our assessment. Show it seriously. I'll get it back. There. assessment. So we needed diagnosis, and then we also need a differential. So our diagnosis, we don't need to write diagnosis, would be vaginal yeast infection. I like to write that it's where the yeast infection is, because you can have a yeast infection in a lot of different places. So imagine that you're not the only one reading the chart. Imagine that she's also seeing internal medicine, or she's seeing nephrology or something. So always anticipate that someone that is not a midwife is also reading the chart. So a differential, there are several options here, but one could be STD. You don't need to defend your answer here. You didn't need to give me any more information. That's all we were asking for. And then plan, treat with diflucan. You don't even need to say treat. You could just, because that's assumed under plan. Diflucan 1 of 50, PO is a single dose. Return to clinic if symptoms are not relieved in 5 days. Encourage warm baths twice a day and to wear cotton underwear. And that's it. That's all we needed. That's all we needed, just like that. Hopefully that makes sense. So subjective is what the patient tells you. And that's it. That's the only thing that should go under subjective. Objective are things you observe, or labs, diagnostics, things like that. Okay, so let's go on and do the next one. Let's see. Okay, so we'll start here with subjective. And honestly, this just takes time and it will be second nature to you. So we'll say chief complaint. Chief complaint is, let's see, complaints of temp of 101, red, swollen, and tender right breast. That's her chief complaint. Okay, that's it. So we'll copy that. And there are different ways you can do this. I mean, there isn't one exactly perfect right answer, but there are certainly wrong answers. So this is just one example of how you can organize this information. And the reason we do that is so that it's easy to find this information. If somebody else was looking at the chart, we all know how to read a SOAP note. We know where to look for the information. Just makes it more efficient. So next we could say, HPI. You could go through a review of systems if you wanted to. That would be acceptable as well. We'll say, let's see. We could put this whole thing in here. She's 3 months postpartum. Let's see. Labor and delivery were uncomplicated, delivered vaginally in the tub. First degree, not repaired. Breastfeeding every 2 to 3 hours. Feels the baby's draining her breast adequately. Put that. We can copy that. Paste that there. We could do like a mini review of systems. We could say breasts, and then we could say denies any cracks or bleeding in the nipples. Okay. Denies white patches in the baby's mouth. I think I'll just put that under HPI for right now. Again, there's not an exactly right or wrong answer, but this is information on the baby and not her. That's kind of what made me want to put it up here, where she's talking about the baby emptying the breast well and all that kind of thing. So that's what my thought process was there. Denies any unusual or foul-smelling discharge. Now, a couple of you associated that with breast, and that could be right because it's not clarified here. Personally, in my mind, what I thought she was talking about, assumed she was talking about, is vaginal. So in my note, I would put like GU here. If you thought it was breast discharge, you put it under breast. Okay. All right. No abdominal or uterine pain. So I'm going to put abdominal, no pain, or denies pain, you could say. Put this here too. No uterine pain. Okay. What else do we have left in our story here? Denies unusual. We got that. We got that. So assessment is given to us. Oh, the tricky part here, objective. There is no objective because it's a phone call. And I think we're going to be doing a lot more of those and telemedicine as well. So I just put none here. We didn't observe or test for anything, so there's no objective data. Review of systems is subjective because these are things she's telling you. They're not things you're observing, so sometimes that's confusing. So assessment is provided to us. Let's see. Mastitis. Easy peasy. It sounds like that to me. A differential. Actually, influenza. I have had people present that I would swear had mastitis, and it ended up actually being influenza, and a couple students actually picked that too, so good call on your part. And plan also provided for us, which was really nice. First degree not repaired. All that. Okay. Mastitis. Okay, dicloxacillin, 500 milligrams, 4 times a day for 10 days. Warm packs to the affected breast, Tylenol, as needed for fever and pain. Continue breastfeeding on the affected side. Follow up if not relieved or significantly better in 5 days. There we go. Where do we go here? Plan. That's your whole plan. Easy. That's the whole thing. I think we got everything. Oh, headache and malaise. So you could put that under general. I'll put malaise here. I'd probably put headache here too. You could put head or HENT there. Again, it could go in either one, and it's not wrong. But as long as it's mentioned and in the subjective information, it's not going to be wrong that way. So I think we got everything. And that's, I just wanted to walk you through it to show you that that's actually how easy it can be. I think sometimes we make things more complicated than they are and think, oh, we've got to add things or make it sound better, but we don't. So hopefully walking through that is helpful for you. If anybody has questions, please comment or reach out, especially put it in the general form so we can all hear your question and all hear the answer. So take care and have a great night.